We have a safe zone between the crush and the animal pens, so nobody has to get anywhere near the animals the whole time we're using it. Safety wise, it's very good. One man now can just run in all the animals safely, no problems, dose them very quickly, draft them very quickly. It's a big bonus for the farm, to be honest. It's one of the best investments we made.
Hello and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc Beef podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Catherine Egan, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by DairyBeef 500 farmer Peter Hanrahan from County Kilkenny to discuss his dairy calf to beef system, grassland management on the farm and upcoming walk taking place. Peter, you're very welcome. Can you give an overview on your dairy calf to beef system?
On farmer partnership with my father Thomas, just outside Thomastown, we run a dairy calf to beef system, buying in roughly 220 calves per year, hoping to rise to about 250 a year. We bring all animals through to slaughter between 21 and 25 months of age. The farm consists of 92 hectares of own grassland.
And of the 220 calves that you source, how did you go about sourcing and rearing the calves, Peter?
All the calves are sourced locally, 5 different local farmers. I've built up a relationship with the 5 of these farmers maybe over the last 5 or 6 years, and we've stayed buying off those farmers. All the farms are within 10 to 15 minutes from my yard, so it's less stress for the calves during travel, and it's a big bonus for health wise. And I know the farms that they're coming from, and I know the health status, so that's kind of how we source the calves. And
once they land on the farm, then how are they managed, or how are they reared on the farm then up until weaning time?
Calves are bought in between 2 and 4 weeks of age, mostly. When they get to the shed, they're registered on automatic calf feeders. They're put on a plan depending on their age, usually around between 50 and 60 day plan. They get 6 litres a day, no more than 2 litres at a time, and the feeder weans them off. The calves get Bovipast, 2 shots of Bovipast for pneumonia, and they get 2 shots of Trivovax 10, and they get a coccidiosis dose 2 weeks after turnout, and they'll get another booster for Bovipast for pneumonia before housing.
And with numbers like that, what kind of group sizes are you managing once the calves go out to grass? How are they managed?
We normally, with the first year, we'll have 2 groups, and then every couple of weeks we'll kind of take out a smaller one out of the group back to another smaller group, and just keeps them thriving, and maybe they might get some extra meal. The big ones are taking off meal during the middle of the summer, so we'll just take back any ones that are a little bit smaller, or we think that are a little bit weaker, and we make a 3rd group. And
how are the calves performing this year so far?
Yeah, calves are going really well. It's been a good year for calves straight through. Calves, I think, are doing about 0.84 a day. They're after getting 2 worm doses. We fecal sample regularly, so that's how we worm dose. We went with Albex first, and then we went with an Animec injection, and the calves seem to be going fairly well. They are on a strip grazing at the moment, and they're getting 3 days grass allocations at a time.
That's great, Peter. I suppose in relation to the stores, how are they managed and how are they performing at the moment?
Yeah, the stores are on a paddock grazing, and they've 3-day paddocks. Stores are going well. We'll be pulling out some now. We're doing a weigh-in at the end of the month, and anything over 550 kgs will be taken out and put in the shed for finishing. The stores are doing up on 1 kilo a day of grass, which I'm fairly happy with.
And once they go into the shed, then how are they managed, or what's your kind of target weights for the group at slaughter?
We're hoping to get about 3 15 kg carcass. So when they go into the shed, we'll be pulling in the shed anything over 550 kilos, and they're going to be fed ad lib silage. We just got our silage results back the other day. So the silage is testing at 75 and 72 DMD. So they'll be getting ad lib silage and possibly 5-6 kilos of meal for 100 days, and we'll pick them out then as we see fit for the factory.
The silage samples came back very good, Peter. What's the key to making the 75-72 DMD silage, do you think, on your farm?
Sure. I suppose a lot of the grass is relatively new and our cutting dates are fairly early. I think we cut on the 10th or 11th of May and then again fairly quick 6 weeks later, getting it in on a good dry day and making sure the silage is well rolled in the pit and clamp is well sealed.
And that'll have a big impact on the amount of meal you're actually going to have to feed the weanlings this year, as well as the stores that's been finished.
Yeah, hopefully it'll cut the meal bill. Hopefully we'll take a couple of kilos ahead off the meal bill per day. Last year's silage wasn't as good. We did everything the same, but didn't turn out as good. But yeah, this year the silage is a lot better. So hopefully it'll just reduce meal costs and overall profit.
You have an excellent handling facility on the farm, especially for handling the large groups of cattle that you mentioned, particularly for a safety point of view and from a labour efficiency point of view. Can you just describe the design of the handling unit that you put in and the change there is now to using this handling unit with regard to safety and the labour efficiency on the farm?
Yeah, so when we start getting up in the numbers, our old crush and yard wasn't really, the crush was too low and they were getting out of it and the pen could only hold 30 cattle, and when they're in bigger groups then you're having to separate them in fields or let them in smaller groups or bring them into the sheds and bring them up through the yards, which was labour intensive. So the new unit now can hold 130-40 cattle at one time. It has 4 big pens and a semicircular kind of, what you call it, forcing pen at the back where the gate wraps around behind them and latches every foot or so. So you don't ever have to be in with the animals if you don't want to. And the gate can just latch around and they can't kick back and it filters them into the crush. And the crush is a lot higher than the previous one. We have a safe zone between the crush and the animal pens. So nobody has to get anywhere near the animals the whole time we're using it. So it's safety wise, it's very good. We have a weight box at the front of it, head gate, so the animals then can go into that, be weighed, use a wand to take the ear tag so there's no putting hands in for the tags safety, and then they can be drafted out into a pen just outside that, which makes it very fast and efficient way of kind of sorting animals. We also have a calf crush on the other side of it, which is also loaded through the circular unit. There's a drafting gate at the back and there's a safe zone between the calf crush and the big crush as well. So we can use the 2 crushes off the one handling unit, so which is very handy.
And as you say, it's made a huge difference from a safety point of view and particularly from the labour point of view, how efficiently you can dose and handle animals.
Yeah, one man now can just run in all the animals safely, no problems, dose them very quickly, draft them very quickly. It's a big bonus for the farm, to be honest. It's one of the best investments we made.
And you've recently built a finishing shed. How is that going to have an impact for you for finishing cattle in the coming winter?
Sure, it gives me more storage. It gives me a lot more options. It gives me more pens to draft cattle, different weights. I've more feeding space, more lying space. I can feed front and back. It's a lot. There's no more bedding animals or getting in with animals. I can feed meal front and back, and it's just very labour efficient as well, and it can hold a lot more cattle than what I could. So it's a big advantage for the farm.
And this will be a huge addition, particularly with building numbers in the years to come.
Yeah, it's just it was a case of having to. It just gives me scope and room to expand without having a problem with storage or pens or having animals packed into sheds. So it just gives me a bit of comfort on the farm.
Most definitely. And you mentioned there earlier about grassland management on the farm and the silage quality. How are you managing grass on the farm currently?
We grass measure weekly. My father does the grass measuring. It gives us more confidence, being able to take out paddocks to keep covers at optimum heights. With the grass measuring, we can get into covers, ideal covers between 12 and 15, 1600. So we're utilising the grass to the best of our ability, and Then strip grazing and paddocks, setting up paddocks, infrastructure across the farm has helped us manage grass a lot better. So,
And what group sizes are you running the store cattle in then? You mentioned earlier about the calves, but in relation to the stores.
yeah, the stores are running in 2 groups. So the stores could be in groups of up to 110. At the moment, I think they're 115. We had them in different groups, smaller groups, but we're finding this way they're cleaning out paddocks and we're moving them quicker. And our paddocks are kind of fairly big, so it's kind of suiting us at that group size at the moment in the rotation. So we're going to leave it at that.
And what's your plan in the coming weeks for building covers?
We had a big flush of grass there after the last dry spell, so we took out paddocks. We have enough grass now for another 2 weeks, 2 weeks anyway. So we're hoping on a bit of rain at the moment. But the bigger cattle, anything over 550 kilos, will be drafted into the shed now at the end of the month. So that will give us plenty of scope to build covers for the weanlings for the back end of the year.
And you're hosting a farm walk on Thursday, the 4th of September at 6 p.m, Peter. What can listeners expect to see on the night?
There'll be 4 stands. There'll be first stand as an introduction stand. There'll be 5 stands, sorry. There'll be first stand as an introduction stand. There'll be a stand at grass with weanlings, so there'll be a chance to see the weanlings, and there'll be receding paddocks where the weanlings are. There'll be another stand for the yearlings and show the grazing infrastructure. And then they'll be back to the yard. There's a factory demonstration in the handling unit, drafting animals for slaughter and going through the handling unit. And there's also a nutrition and health stand in the fattening shed. And there'll be a stand, I think a stakeholder stand in the calf shed. So there'll be plenty to see.
That's great, Peter. It sounds like a great evening and the very best to look on the night. I'll include the further details on the event in the podcast text. Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Catherine.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Peter for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan and thanks for listening.